All right, guys, and today we have an omnibus that totally I was not expecting to really get deep into. I didn't really know much about the question. I kind of knew the character, like he popped up in different things that I've read, but I never really sat down and read his past or who he really was or why he had such like a following in the comic world. And so today we're taking a look at the omnibus. It is considered volume 1, so we might be getting to volume 2, which is very cool. But this one collects the question issues 1 to 27, the question annual number 1, Green Arrow annual 1, and Detective Comics annual 1. And those are kind of one big story, those three annuals that kind of come together. So that's its own story. And then, of course, question 1 to 27 is the main series that was made in the 80s by two excellent creators, of course, Dennis O'Neil. Rest in peace, one of the best creators out there. If you like modern day Batman, don't just give it to Frank Miller. Give some credit to one of the creators that really made Batman the brooding Dark Knight that we all love. And of course, I also want to talk about the artist, Dennis Cowan. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, or Cowan. I'm hopefully saying your name right. I am so sorry if I'm not. But these two create something really special here, and we're going to get into why right now. So what I really like about this is it's like a really quick jump into the origin story of the question. Basically, the first 3 issues of this entire omnibus is the origin, but it's not done in a slow way. It's not done in a like padded way just to kind of give extra panels. It's literally summed up that Vic Sage, something happens to him after he's trying to be a vigilante. He goes into training, learns how to fight, becomes a hero that we all love, and then we get right into the one-shot and two-shot detective style stories or vigilante stories, and I just kind of love this. You don't usually get this, and the origin is summed up really. I don't even want to say it's 3 issues because the first issue's kind of his origin, but issue 2 and some of 3 is really how he gets his start, and then he just becomes Vic Sage the Question. And like I mentioned before, the art is so good. The art really is the other half of this book. Sometimes I can read a book and the story is so compelling that if I'm not a fan of the art style, I can get through it. But it's so nice when the art really complements the story, or the other way around, the story complements the art. Either way, these two work together obviously really well because this artist just does such cool mystical effects. The transformation for Vic Sage into the question is simple but cool. The city always feels like a live city, like a nasty New York in the 80s type city. And my favorite thing I just absolutely love about the art here is that the expressions are really well done. You really feel for these characters, and you know, not every character is showing massive amount of expressions, but when they do, it comes alive. So yeah, this is just a great gritty feel to a New York City style theme that's going on here, and it's always so cold, and I love it. I just feel it coming out of the pages. And one of my really strong positives is the fact that most of these stories in here just wrap up in one shot, and that's a big plus for me. It feels like a complete story with a one shot filled with themes that range from, say, racism to poverty issues, political intrigue, and plenty of things that still happen in this day and age that you can relate to, even though this was written over 30 years ago. That, my friends, is something special, and to me is timeless writing. Even though most of these stories are one-shots, they still have these shocking events that made me go, whoa. And I don't know if you guys have watched my channel long. If you're watching this for the first time, I am not easily surprised by twists. I can usually tell something's coming, or I can tell what the twist is, and it doesn't always hinder my experience. Sometimes I still love it just as much, but this one actually had a couple of moments, especially towards the end, that I was actually blown away and couldn't believe what was happening on the pages. So I have to say, when a story can surprise me and it feels like it's earned and not just thrown in there for shock value, I love it, and this story, or this omnibus, provides that. And the overarching storyline that we do have here does have a conclusion in a way. I mean, they leave it for the next volume to kind of finish up, but we do have an overarching storyline in the background of a lot of these one-shots. And I think it's masterfully done because it builds up these side characters so well that you really get to kind of love them just as much as Vic, which is really cool. Not only is that the case where kind of the main hero that you're reading about is kind of the only central point, Vic is certainly, but you get a lot of cool storylines with the side characters that really work well in this series. But I gotta talk about a little bit of negative because, God, if I just keep gushing, people are like, well, this isn't a review. You're just selling this product. And to that, I tell you, I wish. I want more money. But no, there are a couple issues. There's a few issues that fall into the, wonky's 80s side. It's either too on the nose or silly at points. But you know what? You just got to be used to that with the 80s stories because it's in the 80s. And this is a negative to some, not for me, but to some, that these are a lot of one-shots. So they are summed up in just one issue or maybe two. There is no 4 or 6-parter story. It's just not there. So if that's more your taste, which I totally understand, sometimes I like those a lot, and I wish that, some books had that from the 80s, but you do get an overarching story. But I will say that they are a lot of one-shots. So they're completed, and then it feels like episodic instead of one long overarching storyline besides the main plot that's kind of in the background most of this book. So if that's not really your thing, if you're not really into one-shots and you want more character-built moments with a longer storyline, that's not really here in this omnibus. But that's it. That's all I gotta say for the bad, because my God, I got to be honest, it was hard to contain myself in the beginning here. I love this omnibus. This is easily one of my favorite omnibuses I ever bought because while reading it, it's the one rare time where I actually had to stop myself from reading too quick because I was really digging the storyline a lot. I love the art. I love just flipping through the pages and taking it in after I read the story. I just didn't want this to end, which is really rare because usually that doesn't happen. So, saying that, if you watched a couple of these, I think I got about 15 or 20 out of these omnibus reviews, you see that I'm pretty much, a lot of mine range from the 2, 2.5, 3, and 3.5. That's kind of my range. So, once in a while I give a 4, but a 4.5 is very rare. This might be my highest actual omnibus review next to Daredevil, and for good reason. This blew me away, blew my expectations away by far, and I gotta say, even if, the older comics aren't your thing, this is definitely written with a more mature style. So if you like Watchmen or V for Vendetta, this has that similar feel, or Green Arrow from the 80s, which is also excellent. I will review that for you guys one day. But I gotta say, check this out. Way worth reading, way worth owning. I think you can get it still on Amazon for like 65 bucks, or go on in-stock trades, cheap graphic novels, wherever you can get it the cheapest. Whatever you want to do, this is worth full price. Even if you pay 100% worth it, but you can get it cheap right now, so go get it. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you did, as always, all I ask for is to hit that like button. That gets people interactive with my videos more. Also, subscribe if you want to see more of these. I do a lot of comic omnibus reviews. I do comic countdowns, like top 10, top 5. I do ranking videos of video games, comics, and movies, and all the fun stuff. So check me out. If you like me, subscribe, and we'll have more videos coming. Hope you guys have a great day, and pick up the question omnibus right now.